You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my top 10 worst movies of 2021. Now, before we get into this countdown, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Now, once again, we are rocking our beloved Betty White for the end of the year countdowns. No one loved a good bit of sass like the legendary Miss White. So I think she would appreciate being brought along for our top 10 worst films of the year. And yeah, here on this channel, you'll be getting a worst of the year list, okay? Now, if you haven't, make sure to go ahead and check out the best films of the year list as well. If you want to hear my favorite films of 2021, if we talk about the best, we've got to shine a light on the worst of the worst. These films just added on, just kept piling that pain of 2021 onto me as I made my way through the cinematic experiences being offered up. Now remember, these are just my picks for the worst films of 2021. Purely subjective. If you love any of these films, well, good on you. If you think other films are way worse, well, I look forward to hearing your picks, all of them, in the comment section down below. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick things off with some dishonorable mentions. Voyagers was a horny, young adult sci-fi flick that was as nonsensical as it was boring. Separation was a horror film that introduced some cool, heady type of atmosphere and ideas, in particular when it comes to grief. However, it handles them in such a jumbled fashion, complete with hot mess visuals to boot. Bumble was a completely boring, void of originality animated flick that had okay voice acting, a cliched story, and about zero jokes that actually land. A Journal for Jordan was completely saved by the fact that Michael B. Jordan served up some cakes in the film. Otherwise, well, wow, it was a slog to get through. Denzel Washington really made his directorial debut with a Lifetime film, huh? Old got more and more frustrating the more and more I thought about it. Once again, we're all just begging M. Night Shyamalan to find his glory days or, well, just give it up. Old was complete with a hot mess storyline, insane character actions, horrible editing, and, well, less than savory performances. And then finally, my last dishonorable mention goes to Tom and Jerry, a complete mess of a family film that sidelines Tom and Jerry for a horribly boring storyline that centers around Chloe Grace Moretz and planning a wedding and working at a hotel. Who really cares? Boring, unfunny, but at least the animation on them was a little bit cute. So kicking off my top 10, I'm going to cheat and put two films in at this number 10 position because they both land here for similar reasons. At number 10, we have the dynamic duo of Licorice Pizza and Red Rocket. If I'm being honest, I dislike Licorice Pizza just a tad bit more. However, I find Red Rocket to be just a tad bit more problematic. Now, Red Rocket wouldn't be on this list or really anywhere near the bottom here if they didn't do a relationship between a 17-year-old and someone in their late 40s. And before you say, oh, he's supposed to be bad, he's supposed to be blah, blah, no. They play it for jokes. They play all of his punishments for jokes. And they give us sex scenes with this 17-year-old girl. And furthermore, they actually make her kind of a complicit predatory character. That didn't sit well with me at all. I was having a good time. We kick off with NSYNC, seeing this horrible man and making these horrible decisions. It's all a blast until the moment he starts making googly eyes and the 17-year-old makes him back. Mm. Yeah, then I was uncomfortable and couldn't wait to get out of that theater. It was gross. Then we hop over to Licorice Pizza, which also deals with a rather gross age gap in our lead romance. This time we have a 15-year-old boy with a 25-year-old girl who the director said was actually 28. So, in no world is that acceptable. I'm sorry. A 15-year-old with someone 10 plus years their age, no go, not for me. And the film definitely makes you feel as though you should be rooting for this romance. You should be rooting for them to come together. And no, it is not platonic. They may not have the sex scenes like Red Rocket does, but they make it very clear by the end that, yes, this is more than just a friendship. So don't pull that with me. But the story and the script itself are complete nonsense. This is supposed to be some sort of like slice of life, just lived in film. Instead, we have a 15-year-old opening multiple businesses over the course of a summer. What? These random, unnecessary, unneeded subplots to add in unneeded cameos? Oh, yeah, and racism. That was also not needed at all. Both films made me feel gross. They made me highly uncomfortable watching the center romances that the film pretty much revolves around. And that's why I needed to include both of them here at my number 10 position. I don't care how well made your film is, if it makes me feel this gross and makes apologies for that behavior, it's a no-go for me. Again, at number 9, I have The Addams Family 2. As someone who actually enjoyed the first animated Addams Family, this pains me to put the sequel here on this list, but I really didn't like it. I found the humor to be grotesque and horrible. I didn't laugh, I don't think, even once watching this film. The plot is absolute buffoonery. The hijinks are ridiculous. The characters really step over that line where I don't really care. Just nothing. There was no hint of what makes the Addams Family good to be found in this sequel. Instead, I was just kind of miserable watching it, counting down the minutes, waiting to hit that exit. Coming in at number 8, I have F9. Listen, I have long been a Fast and Furious series defender. I have liked most of the films, even the bad ones. I have fun with them. I enjoy them. This was by far miles, head and shoulders for me, the worst in the Fast and Furious franchise. The script is terrible. The jokes do not land. The acting is even worse than we're used to in these not well written films. The plot is even more ludicrous than you could expect, and not in a fun way. When they said we're shooting cars into space, I was excited, and then it just was stupid. Then it turned out to be a freaking dud. Almost nothing about this film worked for me. They tried to be meta, they tried to be self aware. No. And you're trying to tell me John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother? Hell no. I finally got it. I finally see why everybody's been begging for the series to just be done, because F9 kind of killed it all for me. Number 7, I have Thunder Force. Melissa McCarthy, please. We are begging. Stop working with your husband. We are so tired of this dreck coming out all the time from the two of you. He is not a good director. He's not a very good writer. And he's not a good actor. So, Melissa, you are a 2-time Academy Award nominee. You can be very funny when you're given good material. Stop letting your husband sink your career. I was actually looking forward to Thunder Force. I thought it could have been fun and empowering, and instead it was just stupid. Just ridiculous. Jason Sudeikis with those damn lobster crab claws. Oh my gosh. Melissa McCarthy was not funny in the slightest. Octavia Spencer, oh, why did they get you to do this? Because you were also not funny at all. Bobby Cannavale, nobody. It was all just terrible. Number 6, I have Dear Evan Hansen. Oh, easily the worst musical of 2021 was Dear Evan Hansen. I have to say, I don't quite understand why this is such a phenomenon in the musical theater world because it's problematic as hell. Okay? It's uncomfortable to watch. Much like I talked about with Red Rocket, I sat in my seat for Dear Evan Hansen uncomfortable the entire time because our main character is doing a lot of really crappy things and hurting a lot of people with his actions, but he also has a social disability. So we are vilifying this man who needs help, who is crying out for help himself, but we can't excuse his behavior. It puts you in a horrible place as a viewer. We're manipulating girls into being in a relationship with him. Oh gosh, just everything about the story itself is god awful. Everybody in this film pretty much is not a very good person. Music is good. Ben Platt's singing is great, but they buried him under the worst makeup I've ever seen that made him look like a 40-year-old roaming around the halls of a high school. Acting is fine, but the editing is terrible. Honestly, almost nothing worked in Dear Evan Hansen, and it just made me feel gross leaving the theater. Off our top 5, I have The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Yep, it's just about as terrible as that title. Do we want or need a sequel to The Hitman's Bodyguard? I, for one, said hell no, because I didn't like that first film either. But this, oh, God, this story is absolutely ridiculous. Just stupid for stupid's sake. And it's not fun. It's not funny. Ryan Reynolds barely gets a chuckle or two. He continues to just be Ryan Reynolds. Salma Hayek, oh my gosh. God for Eternals and for House of Gucci, which, say what you will about the films themselves, at least they got Salma Hayek away from being angry Latina Mexican Chicana, cussing everyone out in Spanish all the time. It's an Academy Award nominated actress. We've pigeonholed into this bullshit. Samuel Jackson is whatever, honestly. Morgan Freeman is Ryan Reynolds' father, which is just ludicrous. The story is stupid. I hated it. I hated it. Coming in at number 4, I have Boss Baby 2, The Family Business. I've seen some say this is better than The Boss Baby. And it's a close call for me. And when it's this close of a call, well, that's not a good sign because I hated The Boss Baby and I hated the sequel. Storyline is just as stupid and absurd as that first film, actually, maybe even a bit more so. And the animation might have actually gone down from the first film. At least in that one, we got these beautiful like dream sequences when they were playing that were the highlight of The Boss Baby. This one, no, we scratched that. All much more standard. New little girl is pretty annoying rather than like fun. Jeff Goldblum's baby is horrifying. Absolutely one of the worst characters that was put to screen in 2021. I hated everything about him. Once again, it wasn't funny. It scrapes the bottom of the barrel for any type of humor it could find. And you add that on top of just such a terrible story and script. Yeah, no. The Boss Baby, A Family Business. Please shutter the doors. In COVID, take down this business. We're begging. Coming in at number 3, I have Earwig and the Witch. The worst animated film. Even worse than Boss Baby or Addams Family 2 or anything else. It was the Studio Ghibli film, which shocked me too. Trust me. I did not anticipate putting a Studio Ghibli film in my bottom 5 films of the year, but here we are. They decided to give little Goro Miyazaki another shot, and he once again delivered trash. Stop letting him on your films, Miyazaki, please. We are begging. He doesn't have the talent. Oh, Earwig and the Witch was Studio Ghibli's foray into 3D animation. Well, the animation was terrible. So just go back to the beautiful hand drawn, please. We're begging. The story is this half baked, meandering mess that doesn't go anywhere. Lead character stays annoying literally the entire film. She does not grow. She does not progress as a person at all. Zero. And where she starts is pretty grating. And we have to just stick with that the entire time. Nothing happens. We don't get any big reveals. We don't actually move anywhere. It feels like a pilot episode storyline for a TV series, or at the very least, half of a film. It's not complete. It's not good. It's not whimsical or fantastical. It's terrible. Worst from Studio Ghibli to date by a mile. Coming in at number 2, I have He's All That. Oh my gosh. If you want to watch my soul being sucked from my body in real time, check out my live reaction to He's All That. This film is terrible. Absolute trash. Who wanted a sequel, reboot? Kind of happens in the same universe, maybe because some of the characters reference back to that first film. Or He's All That from the late 90s. No one. That's who. Absolutely no one. Addison Rae, go back to TikTok. I'm tired. Oh my gosh. And Netflix just gave her this big deal. She's going to be in so many more of these horrible rom-coms. Just another reason for me to avoid them like the plague. The chemistry is non-existent. The actual script itself is absolutely terrible. The product placement is abhorrent. It is actually laughable in the film. It's not cute. Literally, they throw horse shit at each other as one of the dates to show connection between them. What? The singing isn't very good. The dancing isn't very good when we get there. The acting is terrible. It looks absolutely horrible. Like when you think of horrible streaming cinematography, television streaming cinematography, that's He's All That. It is so flat and bright. It's terrible. Ugh. There's pretty much no redeeming factors here. I'm sorry. It's horrible. Coming in at number 1, my pick for the worst film of 2021, I have Don't Breathe 2. Now, some have defended it, some quite enjoyed this film. I, however, was not one of them. If you want to speak on a completely pointless sequel, look no further than Don't Breathe 2. Why? Why did we need a second film? Yeah, the first one kind of leaves off like with an opening for a second film, but they just scrap that. They don't actually start where the first one leaves off. No, they just have the old man snatching up another female child. After what we saw him do in the first one, great. But actually, maybe it could have been okay. Maybe all this could have been well and good if we kept him as a villain, as we kept him as the crazy old man. No, they make him a hero. I don't want to hear arguments. I don't want to hear any discussion. Y'all can try to defend it till you're blue in the face. They make the blind man a hero. In this second film, he is literally protecting a young girl against horrible people. That end with him, how we end the film between the two of them, makes it as obvious as day that he got the hero edit. And that makes me sick to my stomach. He literally was a sexual predator, a rapist in the first film, on top of being a murderer. And we thought, let's redeem him through the story of a little girl. The story is absolutely terrible. It's so dumb. And then we just add on more terrible people in here. It's just like a fest of terrible people doing nonsensical bullshit. Yeah, a couple of the kills are cool, but guess what? The kills in Halloween Kills are even better. So I'll just go watch that because at least it's not morally bankrupt. Even if He's All That or Earwig are horribly put together films that, from a filmmaking standpoint, might be a little bit worse than Don't Breathe 2, not by much. The existence of Don't Breathe 2 makes me want to vomit. And that is why Don't Breathe 2 is my pick for the worst film of 2021. So that's it. Those are my picks for the worst films to come out of 2021. If you like this video, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, make sure to join in on the discussion. Let's talk about my list, but more importantly, I want to hear your list. What were your worst films of the year? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.